What is up, guys? Welcome back to the channel. Today we're going to be talking about the latest shit going on in the MMA community, with Arman Tsarukyan and Jamahal Hill being the angriest motherfuckers in the UFC today, along with the recent fight night between Jared Cannonier and Imavov, the controversy following that TKO loss that Jason Herzog, one of the best referees, made. Anyways, we're going to be recapping all of that, talking about the news and drama of everything going on in the MMA community as of late, and firing off some more videos for you guys on this channel since I went on vacation. If you guys want to see what I was up to on vacation, tune in to the Will versus the Way podcast, where we talk about that and everything else going on in MMA as well, in a more of a long form and more casual format. I mean, it is with the casual Terrence on it. So anyways, with that being said, if you want to support the content, give this video a thumbs up or hit that subscribe button to join the family and be notified when more videos like this one come out in the future. But with that being said, let's get right into it. So starting off first with Nassourdine Imavov versus Jared Cannonier for the fight night. Now, there were a bunch of good things that happened on this card, a lot of exciting fights as well. I mean, we had Punahele Soriano defeating Miguel Baeza in the welterweight division. Punahele showed a very dominant performance, outlanding the guy by like 320 strikes. It was absolutely ridiculous, the amount of strikes he landed versus Miguel Baeza, and I'm interested to see if Miguel is going to get cut after this performance or what's really going to go on with him, because I believe that's 3 or 4 losses in a row for him. But Punahele Soriano, that was a great performance. Zachary Reese was able to knock out Julian Marquez on the card. Bruno Ferreira knocked out Dustin Stoltzfus, if that's how you say his name. And then we got into Raul Rosas versus Ricky Turcios, in where, man, it was a grappling match, pretty much. I mean, Raul Rosas was able to take down Ricky Turcios right away. Turcios started off right away, just throwing a bunch of kicks, unleashing everything right away. Clearly he was upset that the fight ended up having to get rearranged and Raul Rosas couldn't make the first fight happen and whatnot, which we could see in the fact that he didn't touch gloves, but he was throwing a lot of kicks right away. Raul Rosas was able to intercept one and take him down, and then it became a grappling match. He was able to get Ricky Turcios' back. Ricky Turcios was able to get his back. Ricky Turcios almost had a rear naked choke sunken in. It was right over the chin, and even as of late, we've seen a lot of rear naked chokes be finished even going over the chin, whether it's a crank or whether it's actually a blood choke, because we've seen people go out as well from the chin still being in the choke. But it wasn't Raul Rosas' chin. I mean, Raul Rosas, if we know anything, he has a chin, no offense, and I think it saved him in this one. There's a very weird angle that he was taking on it. Usually people will try and tuck their chin all the way, but that does not actually help or even really prolong the choke at all. As long as they're keeping the pressure on these two arteries, you'll be going out. But Raul Rosas was kind of not tucking it all the way, not lifting it up, but kind of digging it in to the elbow, and I guess it was able to just keep Ricky Turcios' arm away from his arteries. He ended up getting the submission victory in the second round. He actually had it over the chin as well, in which Ricky Turcios was not going to tap, but then they ended up rolling over, sunk it in deeper, and Raul Rosas got a very clean submission victory over Ricky Turcios. It seems like Raul Rosas has really learned from his loss that he had in the UFC. He is now 2-1 in the UFC, 3-1 if you consider that Contender Series win, and man, he's making his way. I still don't think they should rush him. I still think that they should be giving him more matchups, almost similar to like the Sean O'Malley route a little bit. Don't try and kill him, give him tough competition, give him tough fights. I mean, there's really no easy fights in the UFC, and let's continue to see him grow. He's 19 years old. There's no rush. He has plenty of time to even try and become the youngest champion ever. He has time, so don't rush him. As far as where he goes next from here, the bantamweight division is kind of stacked, so I say still keep him away from that top 20. I think anything in the top 25, top 30 would be good for Raul Rosas. Let him get another win before maybe trying to crack into that top 15, and we can see where he goes from there. What do you guys think should happen next for Raul Rosas? Who do you think he should fight next? Again, like we just mentioned, there's no easy fights in the UFC. And moving forward, we get to talk about Dominic Reyes. knocking out Dustin Jacoby in a fight to where, to be honest, I think everyone was kind of doubting Reyes. That's what, 4 or 5 fights in a row that he's lost, nearly all of them coming by knockout. It hasn't been a easy road for him since that controversial loss/win against Jon Jones. I still personally think he won that fight against Jon Jones 3 rounds to 2. Jon Jones clearly won the second half of the fight, but it is what it is. Whatever happened, happened. And now we get to see Dominick Reyes in a new ray of light. So this is his first win since 2019. That's actually crazy to even think about. But I like what he said, man. Everyone always talks about vintage fighters and like, it's, oh, he's back, or this is the old him, right? We always hear that, right? But what Dominick Reyes said after this fight, he said, I'm not back, I'm better. Dude, that's everything that mixed martial arts is all about, man. That's what a sport like boxing can learn from. If Errol Spence goes out there and gets a win over Fundora, who I think he's gonna fight, it's not, oh, that's the old Errol Spence. No, that's the better fighter, right? Because the reason you were losing before is because you didn't have the skills or the necessary mindset to win. But when you change all of that and you continue to get better, eventually those wins will come. And it's not the fact that you went back to some old version of you in order to get that win, it's that you improved the current version. So I'm just glad he said that. I feel like that put a new light on losses, losing streaks, and breaking those losing streaks in the UFC or just in MMA in general. And god damn it, I'm happy to see Dominick Reyes get a win. And not only is he winning at fighting, but he also is winning in life, getting engaged, having a kid, his number 15 ranking. And if we look at the rankings here, a fight I would like to see him have, potentially an Alonzo Menifield match. He said later in the year. I think that gives enough rest and time to Alonzo Menifield. However, who knows when he's going to come back. So if it's not an Alonzo Menifield, I would like to see him fight against Anthony Smith. Those are both people that he hasn't gone against before. Those are both people I think would be good fights. I don't know if Anthony Smith is trying to fight backwards because he kind of just did that, but they're both coming off of wins. They both have decent enough names. I think it's kind of a win-win for either fighter. Let me know what you guys think about that matchup. But with that, we move on to the main event with Jared Cannonier versus Nassourdine Imavov. And yeah, it was close. It was a very close fight. I mean, in that 4th round, it was looking like it was going to be split 2-2. I think it was 1-1 going into the 3rd, and the 3rd round was very close in and of itself. I mean, it was very hard. If you weren't really down packed trying to score the fight like one of the judges are supposed to, then it was a really tough fight to fucking score. I mean, there was no clear winner. But some of the weird parts was that Jason Herzog warned Nassourdine Imavov to keep his fingers in at the very beginning of the fight. Nassourdine kind of kept sticking them out, although he did make some corrections to where he would ball it up in a fist to try and keep his hands up. At the end of the day, I think that fingers are going to get out, but it was good for Jason Herzog to warn him because it made him think about it more. And the fact that Jared Cannonier is the one who has to close the distance, I think it just helps the whole situation to try and minimize as many problems as possible. But everyone wants to know about the stoppage. My thoughts on this is you got to give the fighter, especially an older fighter like Jared Cannonier, who doesn't have much room for controversy left in his career. He's 40 years old, right? Even if he rematches Imavov, which probably isn't going to happen, even if he did, you never know when that window for his fighting career is just going to go on a rapid decline, right? I mean, he just had one of the best performances of his career against Marvin Vettori. And then now he has this controversy, which is like, where do I kind of go from here? Granted, he was hurt very bad in this fight. He was hurt very bad in that moment when Jason Herzog stopped it. And granted, he was turning his back. Now, the referee tells you at the very beginning of the fight to defend yourself at all times. He was not throwing back. Of course, he didn't want to open himself up. He was trying to stay more defensive. He was rocked. He was hurt. And the reason that Jason Herzog gave for stopping that fight was that the cage was holding him up. That's not a good reason in MMA. Unless someone's getting beaten up so bad that they're like knocked out against the cage, similar to something that happened in Fury FC this weekend. I don't think you should stop a fight like that. Even Israel Adesanya versus Alex Pereira, I thought was stopped too early. Now, did it save Israel Adesanya? As a fan of Israel Adesanya, was I happy that they stopped it? Yeah, because could I see a knee cleaning his chin? Yeah, but we also thought he was hurt in the second Alex Pereira fight, and look what happened. I mean, if you go look at Cheick Kongo versus Pat Barry, look what happened. We've seen people come back from being extremely hurt and win the fight, but in all of those fights, one thing remains the same. They're given that chance to be able to come back. In this one, Cannonier was wobbling. He was going from post to post. He was falling against the fence, and he was turning his back. Those are all things that, as a referee, you're looking at. It's hard to say that that man could defend himself. It's hard to say that that man isn't on his way to getting knocked out unconscious, and potentially something that could be very devastating to his body, especially at the age of 40. So there's a lot of things that were probably running through Jason Herzog's head. These are kind of some of the things that I know about from speaking to referees and MMA judges on a day-to-day basis. But again, like I said, the fighter should be given that option, especially when there's title implications potentially on the line. Jason Herzog is a very good referee, I should say. Honestly, this is the first mistake I've seen him make in a while, but I do think that it was a mistake. Again, I can see the reasons for why he stopped it, but a mistake nonetheless. Where does Nassourdine Imavov go from here? I mean, goddamn it, he just beat Jared fucking Cannonier. This was after defeating Roman Dolidze, who was surging on a streak, and he beat him up pretty badly. Let's not forget, he was ranked like number 5 or number 6 whenever Sean Strickland ended up beating him on short notice. Nassourdine Imavov is an absolute killer, and I think he even showed that in this fight. And I also should give him the benefit of the doubt, because I feel like Nassourdine Imavov was on his way to finishing Jared Cannonier. I mean, they call him the sniper for a reason. Those are the moments he lives for. He lives to pick his opponents apart after they're already hurt, and I've seen him put countless guys out like that, so we can kind of assume that that might have been the same case with Jared Cannonier. However, with that being said, I think Sean Strickland rematch, that's a very good call out for him, but I don't know if that's gonna happen, man. I think Sean Strickland is trying to get that Dricus du Plessis match back. If they pay Sean a lot of money, I'm sure he'll do it. He's a man who works for the money. But at the end of the day, man, I think that one is a little bit far out of reach, because what bigger payday is there than a title fight? What bigger opportunity is there than a title fight? So I don't think he's going to get that fight, man. And if he doesn't, I could see a Marvin Vettori fight being a very interesting fight. But guys, let me know what you think about that. Everyone else in that division is pretty much booked up. Brendan Allen is coming off of that win against Chris Curtis, but that's one spot above Nassourdine Imavov. Don't know if he'll take that. I'm sure he'd probably rather have the number 5 ranked Marvin Vettori, but even that might be fighting backwards, because Jared Cannonier was number 4. He just beat number 4. He is number 4. Where does Nav go from here? That weird controversy kind of messes things up. However, moving forward and moving on to Jamahal Hill, the drama. I mean, if I had to talk about it, Jamahal Hill and Arman Tsarukyan are both the angriest fighters in the UFC today. I don't say that lightheartedly. Jamahal Hill is extremely angry after that whole situation with Alex Pereira and this whole thing. Oh God, he's fed up. I mean, he's offering fans $20,000 to step in the ring with him for talking shit. He is talking shit to Alex Pereira, talking about wait until the next time we see each other, see if you still have this same energy. I mean, he's heated, and it's because, what can you do, man? You lost, and it wasn't in a good fashion. He feels like it wasn't because Alex Pereira was just better than him. He just feels like he let his guard down for a second and he got caught. I can see where the frustration comes from, man. He also had that whole pullout of Khalil Roundtree for taking a bad substance, which Khalil Roundtree came out himself for. I think that was a really cool move from Khalil Roundtree. Good that he took him out of this fight for that situation. But I think that Jamahal Hill, his anger is making him make a mistake. It's making him make the mistake of taking Carlos Ulberg without really knowing who he is, man. Carlos Ulberg is an extremely dangerous fight for Jamahal Hill, and Jamahal Hill's not the type to take you down. We just saw that he tried to go toe-to-toe with Alex Pereira. I don't think he's the type to take you down. He's pretty emotional, too, going into this fight, so I think he's definitely going to try and stand. I just think that that's where Carlos Ulberg is best. I feel like if you want to, he even would have had a lot more success against Alex Pereira if he just shot one single leg takedown. It changes all of the striking. We just saw that with Islam Makhachev and Dustin Poirier. You shoot one takedown, it'll change the striking for the whole fight. If they start walking you down even more again, you shoot again. Just touching that leg changes striking, and that's the evolution of MMA striking. If you're neglecting that, you're only giving yourself less opportunities to win. And I feel like in a guy like Jamahal Hill, who has that power, who has that speed, athleticism, and a full range of knowledge of the game, I don't think he's using his full capabilities and his full skill set, and I think he's gonna use even less of it if he's emotional going into this fight. He's a pro, he's a former champ. I don't think that he'll let it affect him to the extent I'm saying, but there's always that chance. And Carlos Ulberg is an extremely dangerous opponent. I think maybe even a worse matchup than a Khalil Roundtree was for him, and it's on short notice. How do y'all see that one going? On the other hand, with Arman Tsarukyan, his situation is a little less understandable. I mean, this guy, he lost to Islam Makhachev way back when. It was on short notice. Everyone thinks that he's one of Islam's toughest fights right now. Everyone thinks that, but this man just can't seem to not be angry. He's out here punching fans. He's out here bucking at people. He's out here I've never seen someone this damn angry. I mean, the fact, how angry he got, that is saying he was avoiding the fight and stuff like that. I mean, just keep this in mind as you continue watching the UFC fights the rest of this year. Keep in mind how angry Arman Tsarukyan is, and tell me if I'm tripping, because that's one angry dude, dog. That's one angry dude. And people are getting on his ass too, because he was saying that Dustin Poirier quit. I mean, Dustin Poirier had a partially torn ACL, broken ribs, and a shattered nose in that Islam Makhachev fight, and still made it the dog fight that he did. To say that man quit when he literally got put out from the choke that he was in is fucking stupid and bonkers. And you gotta be just a salty, bitter, or just angry guy in order to say something like that, which Arman Tsarukyan did. And even Mateusz Gamrot was saying, you're just a shitty human being. Yeah, I don't know how shitty Arman Tsarukyan is as a human being. I just know that he's an angry motherfucker, and I think Islam Makhachev, you're only egging him on, man. And this dude, when he fights angry, I mean, we saw he was able to survive with Charles on the ground. He took Charles down on the ground. Do I think Islam Makhachev is more well-rounded initially? Yeah. Do I think he even has a better ground game? Yeah, but I mean, the first one was close. That wrestling plays a factor, and I think Arman Tsarukyan may actually be a better wrestler than Islam Makhachev. I'll leave that one for you guys to discuss in the comments though, and I'll leave that one for the next video. Thank you guys for tuning into the video. Thank you guys for tuning into the channel, Nwadei MMA. Thank you guys for 2,000 subscribers, and I'll see you guys in the next one.